for goals, scouting for goals. We want the finish, we want the goal. Scouting for goals, scouting for goals. Say it with us now, let it unfold. Scouting for goals. Scouting for goals.
Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the Scouting for Goals podcast. I'm joined today by Dean.
Hello.
And the big dog.
How are we doing? You okay?
So, how are we doing, lads? You had a good week?
Yeah, not too bad.
Doesn't seem like 2 minutes since the last episode, does it?
No, just looking forward to the holidays now, getting those 6 weeks off. Thank you.
Yeah, it'd be nice, that will. How's your week been, Ryan?
It's been very good, thank you, mate. Yeah, but, not bad at all.
Good.
Getting excited for the World Cup now. So
Thursday now, isn't it? It starts, not long.
it. Looking forward to this episode.
It is. So this episode is going to be sort of on like World Cup and nostalgia around certain World Cups in particular. So before we talk about anything to do with the World Cup, the only real bit of football news this week was that James Milner's retired. Apparently Brighton offered him a new contract for another year, but he's turned it down and opted to retire instead. So do you think he's classed as a Premier League legend on the basis of he has the Premier League all-time appearance record with 658 appearances and over 964 appearances over his entire career? Do you think that's enough to solidify him as a legend? Or
I think in terms of the Premier League, yes, he would be considered a legend. I think overall, like in terms of like football and ability and how he'd be remembered outside of the Premier League, not so much. But I think within the league itself, I think just for longevity purposes and how he's been able to stretch out his career for so long and the consistency that he's been able to perform, I would say he'd be considered a legend for that reason, yeah.
What about you then, Ryan? Because obviously you saw him play at Liverpool a couple of times as well. So you've probably got more knowledge on Milner than anyone else here.
And of course, obviously, he's played for you, Aston Villa, your favourite team.
He did, although I don't remember him at Villa, to be honest. I think I was too young.
No, I would count him. I would probably agree with Dean with what he said. The outside, you look, probably wouldn't look at him as a legend, but in terms of a Premier League legend, 100%. I mean, the trophies that he's won with the likes of Man City and Liverpool, he 3 Premier League titles, 2 FA Cups, 2 Community Shields and 2 League Cups,
Champions League
and
as
one
well.
Champions League, which was obviously with my team. I mean, that's no mean feat, is it really? I mean, the age of 40, to still be playing at the highest level that you possibly... And every team that he went to, every manager loved him. And I mean, even if he wasn't necessarily starting, he'd be in and around the team just for morale. I think he's been terrific for the Premier League, and I think he'll be sorely missed.
We've got some of the stats here from Transfer Market, so I'm not 100% how accurate this is. But apparently he played in every position apart from centre-back and keeper over his entire career. Most of his games come in at centre-mid. And then a couple of games 194 games on the right, 113 games on the left. Quite a few games at left-back. Didn't he play at left-back a few times for
He did for Liverpool for a couple of seasons, he did, definitely.
I mean, apparently he's played 6 games as a striker. So, but apparently he was in his youth days. Yeah, he was a striker then. So, not only did he have longevity, but he had versatility as well, didn't he?
Sort of player that every manager would love to have within their club, you could imagine. Somebody that they can just slot in anywhere when they've got an injury crisis, or that can just fill any role and give a solid performance.
Yeah. So we're saying that he's a Premier League legend, but not necessarily a football legend.
Within the Premier League, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd agree. Would you agree, Ron? Premier League legend and not a... he's not going to go down with the likes of Messi and Ronaldo.
No, he's not that same sort of
in terms of the Premier League.
In terms of Premier League legend, yeah. But, I wouldn't say that he's not a football legend either. I think he's one of those.
Yeah. So we'll move on to the World Cup stuff now then. So obviously the World Cup starts on Thursday. America last hosted the World Cup in 1994. apparently England didn't qualify for that World Cup. So we had players like Shearer, Lineker, Paul Gascoigne, Paul Merson, John Barnes, Tony Adams, all of them sorts of players. And we still didn't qualify for it. Obviously, that was before I think any of us were born. So luckily, we don't have to.
4 years.
We don't have to remember any of that. But in that 1994 World Cup, Brazil won their 4th World Cup, beating Italy in the final. And apparently, it was when Stoichkov and Oleg Salenko won Golden Boot with 6 goals. So, decent little. I didn't even know Russia ever had a Golden Boot winner in the World Cup. So there we go. So obviously that was before our time. So what we're going to chat about is what's the first World Cup that you remember? And in terms of is there any players from that tournament? Is there just any little things that you remember, like the songs that go with it? Because obviously World Cups always have a World Cup song, don't they? So Dean, what's the first World Cup you remember then growing up?
I think for me, really, the standout is Brazil in 2014. Because, before that, I would watch, England in, tournaments and things like that, but I wasn't as invested as an overall football fan as I was until, my mid sort of high school years. It was truly around sort of that time, as I was growing up a bit, that I really started to get into and, form an obsession and appreciation with football. So I always remember the 2014 World Cup fondly. Not so much as following England, but I think for the tournament as a whole, I really enjoyed it. We had the breakout from James Rodriguez, scoring absolute screamers for Colombia. I'll always remember the flick and the volley.
He loved that ball, though, didn't he, with the Jubilani? There's only certain players that could use that ball.
And bit of discourse around him after that, he didn't quite live up to it after that, and he was only really remembered for the World Cup, but I might have to disagree a bit there. I still think he was a quality player. Germany obviously getting the win in one of the middling finals that I remember watching. Certainly wasn't as entertaining as last World Cup's final, that's for sure.
There's also the Suarez scenario where we beat
Suarez
Chiellini.
biting Chiellini.
Was that his first?
No,
That was the second one.
I think he did it to Ivanovic in the league, didn't he? Prior when Liverpool faced Chelsea. We had obviously the flying header from Van Persie as well.
That World Cup?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Tim Cahill was scoring bangers in that tournament. There was so much going on. We had the absolute killing of Brazil by Germany, 7-1.
Yeah.
Slaughterhouse in that game.
South Korea, didn't they knock somebody out as well in that one? Or was I thinking of a different one? I know it can't have been because they knocked out Germany.
I remember Costa Rica got really far. Costa Rica made it to the quarterfinals.
We came bottom of our group.
Yeah.
Costa Rica won the group.
Costa topped the group.
Uruguay was second, and also Italy were third and fourth.
It was England, Italy, and Spain all went out in the group, didn't they? So shocking from the big teams, but I think
Costa Rica did really well in that.
Yeah, you had a bit of an underdog story going on as well, which is always fun. But yeah, I remember it very fondly. Obviously, we had the Sterling supposed goal that happened when he smashed it against the side net in Italy, and it came up on the screen, goal, and everybody was going absolutely crazy, and it didn't even go in.
No.
So there was that. But yeah, I remember it very, very fondly.
What about yours then, Ryan? What's the first one you properly remember?
I think I'd probably go for the 2010 one.
Yeah.
South Africa, purely on the basis because I can't get that England-Germany game out of my head. Where unfortunately, obviously the Frank Lampard incident where
Justice.
I think that's obviously when there's a lot of controversy with the goal line technology.
Yeah.
That was my main one because obviously the team that England had at that time as well. I think everyone was saying that was a generation that should have probably gone on and won the World Cup or gone at least.
We should have won at least a trophy.
Yeah, it's gone at least further into that one. And obviously I remember the final of that very well with the Spain-Netherlands.
Iniesta goal.
With the Iniesta goal right at the very end. And then he goes and takes his top off.
He does.
That
was your favourite bit, Army.
Well, just seeing Iniesta's nipples, that got me going.
I've met him in person.
And obviously, I didn't get the privilege that you did meeting him in person.
Speaks no English, by the way, Iniesta, or very little.
Never needed to.
But yeah, I would say that's probably my first World Cup.
No, I'm with you on that. I think the first one I remember was 2010, and like Tshabalala scoring the first goal of the tournament for South Africa, and they all lined up,
Big
don't they, and do
celebration,
that
yeah.
big dance thing.
That was the very first game of the
Yeah,
the
that
World
was the
Cup,
first
wasn't it?
goal of the World
Yeah,
Cup. That
that's
was.
it.
I've been using that as the pro club celebration for ages as well. It's fine.
You obviously had the rise of Wesley Sneijder as well in that one. There was a lot. He was in
He
great form.
reckons he'd have been better than Ronaldo and Messi in his own
He
words.
could have sorted out his.
He didn't like pizza and alcohol.
Thomas Muller, another standout from that one. When he I think it was his first full season at Bayern Munich. Got to the World Cup and he was quite an unexpected call up for them and finished top goal scorer. Got Golden Boot with 5. Keisuke Honda, what a throwback he is. He was banging in their free kicks, weren't he, for Japan? So that's another one from Japan. To be fair, he got I think, where did they get to? Got to the knockout stage. And I think they lost to Paraguay in the round of 16. Japan did. But I mean, songs. Do you remember any of the World Cup songs growing up?
Is that everyone always remembers Waka Waka, don't they?
That
I
was
think
2015.
more so than other ones. I wouldn't say apart from that we've had too many that have been like massively memorable after that.
Well, I was thinking this as I was writing it. I've actually written on the script here, Russia World Cup 2018, not as memorable. I don't really remember anything from that World Cup, to be honest.
The Brazil ones you were saying, the Brazil one, there was a whole load of songs in the Brazil. I even remember blooming Joe Weller doing one, didn't he, for the World Cup?
The Mario Balotelli cosplay might not be as appreciated in today's society as it was back then, but hey, on a separate note.
I forgot about that part. Man. Yeah, I still remember that song.
Different time.
I forgot that was 2014. It's scary. It was that long ago.
It's a long time.
2018, France beat Croatia. I'll always hate that World Cup because I'd not long finished. I think I was in sixth form, and obviously we were 1-0 up against Croatia, I believe. Didn't Trippier score a free kick?
Yeah.
And then obviously Croatia knocked us out, and I've never wanted a country to lose more in the final. But Kane came top scorer of that tournament, and apparently there was 12 own goals scored in that tournament, which was a new record for in a World Cup, doubling the previous record. Players like Yerry Mina and Denis Cheryshev sort of became cult heroes of that World Cup. I think Yerry Mina got a move to, was it Barcelona?
Barca around that time, just before Everton.
And Cheryshev was...
I think didn't Cheryshev end up going to Monaco after that? I'm pretty sure.
When he in Champions League, or he was playing in some sort of European?
Yeah, I'm sure he ended up with a move to Monaco shortly after that, and obviously he had that tournament where he was one of those that had a massive breakout tournament, but then after that sort of faded off into the background.
Was it this World Cup where we beat Colombia on penalties?
Yes, it was.
It was this one.
Yes, it was.
That was one of my best World Cup memories when Pickford saved that. Because I don't think I'd ever seen us win a penalty shootout at this point. And Pickford saved 2, I believe.
I think that was the first memorable one, wasn't it? Where we said England have won a penalty shootout.
Yeah.
I also remember that year, from a Liverpool point of view, that Dejan Lovren put himself as the best centre-back in the world at that point. One of the best, because he got to a Champions League and World Cup final in that same
Carried
year.
them,
Yeah. I mean, talking about Yerry Mina quickly, I think he was the one that equalised against England, weren't he? He was really late in the game from a corner.
Yeah.
Good
knowledge, that is, James. Yeah, it was.
No, it wasn't. Just to fact check, it wasn't. Separate point. It wasn't Cheryshev that was at Monaco. I was thinking of Golovin. Cheryshev mainly played in Spain.
Who did he play for?
Madrid, Villarreal, Sevilla, Valencia. So, bit of a journey.
So he never really,
Spain.
after, same with Yerry Mina, they never, after one good World Cup, they sort of just die down a little bit, don't they? All the hype sorts.
Yeah, it was another one of those cases where a tournament performance didn't necessarily sum up somebody's trajectory.
I mean, the last World Cup then, 2022, obviously it was in Qatar. I'd started work at this point in a school, and as much as I wanted to enjoy it, I couldn't because the games were on in the day, and I was struggling to watch them, and they weren't always showing them at the schools that I was at. The first thing that comes to my head with that World Cup is it was the first World Cup Jude went to, and I think we were playing, was it Iran or Iraq?
Yeah, it was Iran.
4-0, weren't it? And Jude scored in the very first match.
Because obviously, I remember being at work and we couldn't show it, so we had like a live score tracker, like just on the like corner of the computer, just like following like the minutes of the game. So we got an update when we scored.
I mean, to be fair, that final was probably the best final I've seen in a World Cup final.
Oh yeah, it's one of the best games of football I think I've seen.
Mbappe getting a hat trick, Messi getting 2, and that Martinez save in like extra time. One of the most important stops ever from a keeper. That
and people talk a lot about Messi and Martinez in that final, but I think in that final as well, Di Maria was so good. It was absolutely unplayable.
How old was Di Maria in that World Cup?
He had to have been like in his 30s at that point, or near his 30s, surely. Towards the tail end of his career, but my God, what a performance.
Do you remember much about them 2 World Cups, right? Or were they sort of, not a blur as such, but there's nothing that really jumps out like the 2010 and 2014 ones?
Well, obviously from an England point of view, like you said, the semi-final in the against Croatia, I mean, that was I really got my hopes up on that one because I think we all thought we were going to get to the final on that one, and obviously we didn't play very well after we went 1-0 up.
Yeah.
But from the 2022 one, I mean from an England point of view, I mean the games against Senegal when we won 3-0. Obviously in the group when we beat Wales.
Was that the one where Sturridge scored? Oh, that was the Euros, wasn't it? Possibly. Bale scored that amazing free kick from like 30 yards. I think it must have been before
that was a bit before that. That was a couple of. That was the one when Joe Hart got really pumped up, didn't he? And then missed the free kick. I think that was. I think that was the Euros when Wales got to the semi-finals, wasn't it?
Is it?
Yeah. Was that 2016?
The thing is, a big part of World Cups for me is there's the World Cup song. Obviously, Waka Waka was probably the biggest one, and then Pitbull did one. I think it was called We Are One for the 2014 one. I don't remember a single song for Russia or Qatar.
No.
On top of that, the World Cup ball. I don't know the name of like the Premier League ball if it's got an official name, but I remember the Jabulani was South Africa and Brazuca was the Brazilian one. Again, I couldn't tell you the Russian or the Qatar ones. I don't know. I don't feel like it was as well advertised as the previous ones. It's a weird one, and you know we had some really good players come out of the 2010 and 2014. James Rodriguez being one of them. Again, Yerry Mina and Denis Cheryshev are very forgettable. I'd have forgotten about them if I hadn't looked into it and tried to figure out who the cult heroes were.
I think
go on.
With Russia as well, probably the main thing that would be remembered was 19-year-old Mbappe probably exploding onto the scene.
Yeah.
I think more than anything is one of the big things that you take away from that tournament.
Well, he was top scorer.
Yeah.
8 goals and obviously 3 of them coming in the final. So, yeah, there was 172 goals in the last World Cup. An average of 2.6 goals per match. So that's the most goals scored in a World Cup ever. But I mean, we've got obviously the stats in front of us. The trajectory from 2010 to 2022, they've gone up every year, haven't they? There's been more goals scored. So teams are clearly attacking more. But it's definitely going to be interesting this year with the heat. I mean, the England game was yesterday. I don't know whether you watched it at all, Ryan. But we looked tired and we looked hot and you could tell we were struggling. We weren't the best performance in the world. I mean, Engamoa got man of the match. He's not even in the team. But like Dean's been saying, it's a friendly. We don't really perform in friendlies, do we, very often? And Tuchel might be thinking he doesn't want to play how we're going to play in the World Cup and give teams the advantage of 2 friendlies to figure out how we're going to play. He might be trying to just go out, see what you can do, get some minutes, not really give any tactics away to anyone watching. And then when the World Cup comes around, that's when you put the tactics in and, so it could be a case of that. But we're going to touch on this World Cup, aren't we, a little bit later. What we'll do is we'll have another chat about some of sort of like the players that have come out of them. That seems to be my favourite part of World Cups. Do you remember Asamoah Gyan, the Ghana?
Yeah, he played for Sunderland.
Yeah.
Sunderland Bagsman, yeah.
He was a cult hero. I think he was 2010. Sifeway to Shabalaba, obviously we touched on him earlier. Probably one of the biggest ones, Guillermo Ochoa, Mexico's keeper. He's a massive cult hero in the World Cup. In fact, he's been picked again, and I think it's in one of my stats a bit later.
Was he the keeper?
Yeah, the sort of the Afro guy in Gulf Mexico.
He's Spain, probably, I think.
He's broke a record with Messi and Ronaldo. That's all I'm going to say. Another Mexican, funnily enough, Giovanni Dos Santos. He's played for Barcelona when he was younger.
Yeah, Tottenham as well.
And then the last one I've got on here, Enner Valencia. Is it Ecuador he plays for?
Ecuador, he was the West, he was the old striker, wasn't he?
Yeah, but so there's been a couple of cult heroes, really. I mean, if we move on to the World Cup this year, we've already had one success story without the ball being kicked. I don't know how much of this you two have heard. Funnily enough, he played yesterday, so an Argentinian influencer named El Scarso, I know none of us have heard of him, he set out a goal to try and find the World Cup player with the least amount of social media followers. He ended up stumbling across Tim Payne, who played for New Zealand yesterday.
Yes, I've heard about this. Yes,
and when he discovered Tim Payne, he had less than 5,000 followers. Obviously, this influencer, El Scarso, sort of hyped him up and made him, sort of giving him publicity. And in a matter of days, he went from less than 5,000 followers on Instagram to 2.5 million, which is staggering, really, what the football world can do, isn't it, in that sense? I mean, it must be nice, and maybe slightly scary for him, going from fairly unknown to now in a World Cup, everyone seems to know who you are. I mean, I'd never heard of him before. I wouldn't even have to tell you what team he plays for. So, I mean, we've already had one cult hero, more than I remember at the Qatar one. I don't remember one from that.
Yeah, I think the person searched up every single player that was at the World Cup, every single player from every single team, until he stumbled upon him and he saw that he had obviously the least followers. So
Which surprises me, because I'd have thought it'd have been somebody from like Haiti or somebody, like, not New Zealand. I mean,
So he just picked a name at random because he had the least followers.
Yeah. But like Dean said, he's gone through every player at the World Cup and looked at their Instagram followers, and Tim Payne had the least, and that's why he's...
I mean, that's a rise to fame without him even having to do anything, isn't it? I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Well, there was a graphic I saw on Twitter yesterday. It was something about saying it could be these legends' final World Cup, and it had Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar, and on the very left was Tim Payne. And people were asking, who's this fella? So no, that's quite a nice little story. What's your opinions on the kickoff times for this World Cup? Obviously, there's some of the England games are at like 9 or 10 in the evening, but there's also some on at like 2 a.m. and 3 a.m.
Is that the ones where they qualify if they go through to the next round, the knockout stages? That it'll be
I think if we win our group, I think we have one game. It's about 1 a.m. and the rest are all watchable for us.
Yeah, it's going to take a bit of dedication.
I might do the one. Well, the problem with the 1 a.m. one is, if we did win the group, is anyway going to be open to show it, or do you think they'd make an exception for it?
Well, I think they've said they're going to have the pubs. I think but if a game, the pubs are going to be open till 2 o'clock. But
if a game kicks off at 1, people are going to want to get there and have a drink and whatever. And then if it kicks off at 1, it's not going to be done till nearly 3 in the morning. By which point, some people will be having work and stuff in a few hours. So. Be interesting whether, I mean, they got to show it somewhere, haven't they?
Yeah, 100%. Well, I think people, any person that's watching England anyway, will probably be having a few too many to drink and not going into work the following morning. So
I think we're definitely going to reach a new level of England fan crankiness if we have to stay up till 1 o'clock 1 o'clock just to see the start of the game for it to be kicked off, and then 3 o'clock in the morning just to then potentially then see them get knocked out as well. I think that would reach an all-time new level of low, I think.
Yeah, people will be miserable at work.
Yeah, that's going to suck.
Yeah.
It's my first thought.
Oh, man. Have you heard about the new rules that have been implemented into the World Cup this year? Or no?
No, I don't believe so.
So, basically, I think it's been happening a lot in the Championship. I don't know how much it's happened in the Prem. When a keeper goes down injured, and I use that in quotation marks, all the players will then go over to the manager and get like a drinks break. But it's not a drinks break. The manager's giving them more tactics. So the keeper's gone down deliberately, hasn't he? What they've done is they've said if that is to happen, the keeper's trying to time waste, or a keeper goes down genuinely injured, they're they're not going to be able to leave the pitch and go over to the technical area or to their manager. So they're not going to be able to get any advice as such. However, there won't be any disciplinary action if they do break the rule, which seems a bit silly. So they've put this rule in and then said, if you do it, we're not going to do anything anyway.
So you may as well just do it.
It does seem a bit of a strange one.
That's a bit.
I mean, the rule itself, I've got no problem with. I think it's a good little rule.
Yeah, but I think, if you're going to introduce a rule like that, you've got to make sure it's then implemented well, because if there's no action, then who cares? You may as well just go and do it then.
And then the other one, be interesting whether they implement this into the Prem, is an advanced semi-automatic offside thing. And what it does is it spots offside pretty much in real time, but it can judge far more precise situations. So it can signal if a player is more than 10 centimetres offside. And what they've had to do for this is every player at the World Cup has had to go into like a scanner, effectively. Apparently it only takes a second to do, and it scans their entire body. So then when they're playing in real time, that trying to think of what they'd be like, that graphic of that player matches where they are on the pitch. So if they're offside, their model that's been generated with AI or however they've done it is in line with their actual body. It's quite a weird thing, but what the aim of it is to stop all of these, is he off, is he not off? And you know when linesmen put the flag up really late, to stop all of that as well.
To be honest, I think if it's used correctly, then I think that will be very good, because I think this World Cup will determine whether leagues across the world will use it for the upcoming seasons. Because I've been wanting this for ages. Because I mean, you look, I don't know what it's like. Is VAR using the Championship?
No,
it's not. Is it?
No.
In the Prem? I mean, how many times we've seen this season that there's been a slight margin of offside. You've been waiting there 4 or 5 minutes just to see whether it's on or off, and it just takes.
It's like it's just his big toe that's off, and at that point you're like, it should be clear and obvious.
100%, and it's even things that like you can't even use parts of your body to score a goal with, and it's sort of like what. It's ridiculous. So I think if this is used correctly, I think this will be very good.
They're on about introducing that as a rule, though, aren't they? In the Prem, I think if you're offside with like your hand, if you've like put your arm out to ask for the ball and your hand's offside, that it's not going to count as an offside because you can't score with your hand anyway.
It shouldn't affect it, no.
But whereas if I'm trying to think of an example, you've just got a really big stride, you're like Peter Crouch, and your legs obviously in an offside position, then that's obviously going to be classed as offside. But it seems to be now, it doesn't matter what's offside, whether it's your nose or your ear, you're offside. It's a bit silly, really. So the next bit then was probably the hardest part of this episode, weren't it? I was asking both of you, what young and fairly unknown player do you think will have a lot of hype around them post-World Cup? So what I meant by this question was players in previous World Cups. Like I think we had Joel Campbell the one year. He was Costa Rica, weren't he?
Yeah.
And he had a really good World Cup for Costa Rica in 2014. And he ended up obviously having a bit of a career at Arsenal. Not a very successful one, but he broke into the first team anyway. Obviously James Rodriguez went to Real Madrid for like nearly 70 million after his really good World Cup. So what players do you think are going to go into this World Cup as fairly unknown and could potentially have a great World Cup and get a nice move in the summer? So if we go to Dean first, because I know Dean's picked one already.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily go along the lines of fairly unknown with him, because I think he's one that, especially a few Premier League fans and Tottenham fans, will obviously know quite a bit about already. He's exploded onto the scene this season after having a terrific spell on loan.
It's not Michael Richards, is it?
Yeah, when he came onto the scene, yeah there he was. On loan in a Hamburger in the Bundesliga. He's already had a lot of pundits and scouts say about how he's one of the best young central defensive prospects in Europe. So, I mean, he's already got that on his side. But yeah, he's been in terrific form this season. A big boy, 6'4". You know, he's been fantastic this season in set pieces. He's been an attacking threat, scoring 6 league goals already and keeping 5 clean sheets. He's been one of the best centre-backs in the air also in Europe with a 74.5% success rate. And obviously we know Tottenham are looking to rebuild. They've already signed Senesi at the back. They've got Robertson coming in at left back. And rumours of getting Van Hecker in too as well. So
have you said who it is?
Yeah, Luka Vuskovic. I'm sure I did.
I didn't know if you said who it was.
I'm sure. I don't know actually. I'm sure I did. But yeah, Luka Vuskovic on loan from Tottenham this season.
There's a bit of an FM wonder kid as well, isn't he?
Yeah, which is another one that wanted me to speak about him a little bit after using.
Did
him
he say who
myself.
it was?
I don't think he did. It was like an episode of Tony.
Yeah, I was just glazing and hyping him up.
That was a good intro for him.
Himself.
I'm his hype man, But even Lothar Matthäus has come out as well and said that his defensive reading of the game is similar to somebody who's already played in 3 World Cups. So it's going to be interesting to see with his first World Cup how he manages to get on. But I think if he delivers this tournament, I think they're going to play like a back 5, or he's going to operate in like the middle of a back 3. I've heard supposedly. It'd be interesting to see whether Tottenham are looking to him then to be maybe a starting option for them in their side next summer, or if other clubs are potentially going to try and see if they can swoop in if he does have a fantastic tournament. But I think with the form he's been in this season, I'm expecting big things from him. We'll see on the big stage how he manages to deliver.
Well, this is what I was thinking when you said about Vuskovic, because obviously if he has a really good World Cup, do you think Spurs will keep hold of him, or do you think they'll sell him and invest it in other areas that they obviously are quite in need of?
I think with needing to rebuild anyway, it'd be almost daft of them to not build upon a top prospect when you've got them, and to cement them into the side when you're going to have players like Romero who have already expressed that they want to leave after the World Cup. I think if you've got somebody that's hungry and ready, that's been able to deliver already in the Bundesliga, I think if he has a good World Cup as well, then you definitely have to try and see if you can get him into the side, surely.
It's an interesting point, but like you said, with Senesi, Van Heck and Van der Ven, if them two were to join alongside Van der Ven in that Spurs team, Senesi's been one of the best centre-backs in the Prem this season. Bournemouth didn't really want to let him go, and it's awful that he's left on a free. Van Heck isn't a bad option either. He's a slightly younger option, isn't he? But if you're Senesi or Van Heck, would you join Spurs knowing you weren't going to start? Do you think? Especially Senesi, who started...
Senesi, I'd fully be expecting Senesi to get game time.
Alongside who, though? Van Heck? No, not Van Heck, sorry, Van der Ven.
Yeah, probably Senesi and Van der Ven with maybe Vuskovic fighting for minutes here and there. But I think if he does have a terrific tournament on top of the season he's already had at Hamburg, then Spurs are going to have to start questioning a few things maybe. But
because if you look at it from a Spurs perspective, obviously they need players. They need certain players in positions, don't they? If a good offer came in for him and you've already got 2 or 3 centre backs lined up, do you invest that money into positions that you're desperate for? That's a tough one, isn't it? He might end up having an awful World Cup and nothing happens anyway.
It's a bad decision, but
right, who did you end up picking then, mate?
I went with, it's similar to what Dean said. I think a lot of people already know him. With Jan Diamandi,
the one that Liverpool are
obviously the one that Liverpool are obviously very interested in. So I think it's one that I've had a look a little bit more into detail with. But he's one of those. He's also 19, but it's. A lot of people that have watched the Bundesliga this season will already know what he's like. He's obviously. He's played 33 games and scored 12 goals and got 8 assists. So that's no mean feat for a player that plays out on the wing primarily. But the age of 19 to be doing that in such a competitive league. And I'll be really interested to see what he's like, because obviously, playing for the Ivory Coast, who is not one of the top teams going into the World Cup, it'd be really interested to see what he's going to be like, because obviously a lot of teams they're going to be looking to get his signature in the summer, primarily Liverpool and PSG are the ones mainly interested.
Do you think you've got much chance of signing him with PSG interested?
Well, it's come out and said that PSG it was his preferred destination, but it'll be interesting because obviously PSG have got a brilliant attacking trio as it is.
He'd be fighting for minutes in that side.
Whereas obviously Liverpool selling Salah,
yeah,
there's obviously a massive spot on the right wing that needs to be addressed.
True.
So he'd definitely get the minutes, but I'll be interested to see what he does in the World Cup because obviously the teams that they're coming up against, Ecuador, Germany, and Curacao. I don't know how to pronounce
Curacao.
it.
I think it's Curacao.
You'd like to think that they get out of the group, but just to see him individually, see how he plays and if he can have a breakout World Cup as well.
The next one, you might have heard of him, Dean. I'd imagine you have. I don't know whether you would have done right. He's another Football Manager wonder kid, actually, but he's made it to the World Cup. It's Gilberto Mora, so he's a young Mexican midfielder. He was the youngest Mexican to ever appear at the World Cup at 17. So, he's not even able to drink in America. So, there we go. He was also the youngest player to start and to score in the first division of Mexico at 15. So, that's crazy. And some of the top clubs like Real Madrid, Barcelona are after him as well, allegedly. But it's interesting with Mexico because they haven't had... I mean, they used to have people like Chicharito, didn't they? Obviously, Ochoa was a good keeper. I'm trying to think of some other good Mexican players.
Raul Jimenez.
Of course. Man. I mean, he's meant to be going back to Wolves.
He's coming back. I hope so. I'll be delighted.
Yeah, so obviously they've had some good players in previous years, but the last 5-6 years, they haven't had anywhere near as much talent, have they? So I think Gilberto Mora looks like he's going to be the next one. Be interesting how much game time he gets, because I think if he goes to the World Cup and doesn't play a minute, I can see him getting a move, but not on the basis of his performance, which is the whole point of this question. If he plays, I mean, who's in Mexico's group, Ryan? Do you know off the top of your head or not?
No, I wouldn't be able to say off the top of my head.
But it'd be interesting to know who's in their group and to see whether he's going to get any minutes. Because from the little clips I've seen of him on things like YouTube and, I mean, I know it's a game, but Football Manager's fairly accurate with these types of things, and he's always one of the...
You have to try and sweep him for him fast, because I think usually PSG side, you can get him for around 1 to 2 million, so I remember he was always like one of the ones that you have to be in on straight away.
So apparently in Mexico's group you've got South Africa, South Korea and Czechia, so there is a chance, to be fair, Mexico could qualify from that. It's a close group, to be fair. There's not really one standout team in it. But I mean, to get to a World Cup at 17, there's got being the youngest player there's got to be some sort of hype around him already, you'd imagine, wouldn't you? I mean, last season, he played 20 games, not bad. Scored 6, got 1 assist. Again, for a 17-year-old, that's fairly impressive. I get it's the Mexican League and whatever, and contrary to sort of what we were saying about the England game, he's from Mexico. He's used to the heat. Players from England, players from Germany, that sort of European region, they're going to struggle in the heat. He's not. He's going to be used to it already, so he might thrive under it far more than your Harry Kanes or your Manuel Neuers. Do you know what I mean? So it'd definitely be interesting to see how he does. On the subside to that, right? We've said who the youngest player is. Without looking, who do you think the oldest player is at the World Cup? It's a blast from the past, I'll tell you that.
Well, is it the player that you've just mentioned, Manuel Neuer? Because isn't he just turned 40?
It's not Neuer. I think he's not far.
Ochoa's fairly old as well, isn't he?
Who?
Sure, Ochoa's fairly old as well, isn't he?
Ochoa's old.
He's been getting on.
It's not him, though. That isn't the record he has anyway.
It's just for this World Cup, the oldest player for this
current World Cup, the one that's gone.
The one that's just gone?
Yeah, so he's the oldest player at this World Cup, but he's the second oldest player to ever go to one as well. So the oldest player to ever go to a World Cup was Egypt goalkeeper Essam El Hadari, and that was at Russia 2018. He was 45, so he's not 45, he's younger than that. And he's Scottish. There's your other clue.
That'd be good in them, won't it?
It will. Craig Gordon, what a throwback that is. He used to be a decent keeper, didn't he? Who did he play
He's
for?
been in
back in
quite
the
a
day?
few clubs, hasn't he, Craig Gordon?
I don't know who he's at now.
I think he's one of the Scottish teams. I think
Yeah, he's still in
Scotland,
Scotland.
or-
Somebody like that.
he's...
But yeah, he's the oldest player in the competition at 43 and 162 days. So there you go. Another bizarre stat. Jumping back to Mora quickly. Obviously, Mora will be the youngest player at the tournament at 17 years and 240 days. Ochoa, who Dean's just mentioned, Ochoa made his Mexico. He'd been to the World Cup with Mexico before Mora was even born. That's
That's crazy.
it is crazy. So, in fact, that leads us on to the record that he holds. Ochoa is in the same bracket as Messi and Ronaldo for breaking the record going to a 6th World Cup. So, good longevity on all three of them. Do you think...
Not that you can't him in the same brackets, though.
No, you wouldn't, but longevity you would, wouldn't you?
He's got fine company in that one, at least.
I'd imagine it's going to be Ochoa's last World Cup. Being a keeper, he's probably got the most chance of going to one more. Do you think Messi and Ronaldo, do you think this is their last World Cup? I mean, Ronaldo will be 44 in the next one, and Messi would be, what, 40?
Yeah, I'd like to say it's probably the last one that we're going to see, I'd imagine.
Ronaldo will not have a better opportunity to win a World Cup with this Portuguese squad. This is the best opportunity that he has had for years.
But do you think it's his last one?
I think so. Yes,
So.
I think. Thing is for him, that's the one thing he hasn't got, and that's the one thing that Messi has over him, isn't it? The World Cup.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it will be. As much as he wouldn't want it to be, I think it
out
will.
of the three of them, Ochoa's got the biggest chance of going to one more. Being a keeper,
Yeah.
it's not as I mean, you only ever hear about him at World Cups. You don't ever hear about how he's doing in whatever league he plays in.
No.
I'd imagine he plays in Mexico. I mean, here's another World Cup stat. So out of all the players that have gone, 357 have played in at least one World Cup. The others, the rest of them, 891 of them will be debutants. So there's a lot of players making their World Cup debut in this one. So experience might not necessarily be a big factor in this. I mean, Ronaldo, 41, is one of 7 players that are over 40. So 7 players over 40 going's a decent little bit of experience in there, isn't it?
Imagine he's probably got a lot of company with goalkeepers.
I mean, you can tell I've gone for a lot of age-related stats on this one. Ghana's coach, Carlos Queiroz, is the second coach to appear in 5 straight World Cups. He's 73, so he's been in World Cups for like 20 years, which is...
He's like the World Cup version of Roy Hodgson, isn't he?
He is. The last coach to do that was Bora Milutinovic. Don't know who he managed. I forgot to put that in. But that was between the years of 1986 and 2002. I mean, the next one tells you sort of more about the Prem. 200 players are based in an English club. So 200 players from the World Cup are from the English leagues, right? 109 are from Germany. 86 are from the French league. 86 also from the Spanish league. 71 from Italy. 49 from Saudi Arabia. But I suppose they've brought a couple more foreign players in, haven't they?
Spending the money a bit recently.
So, I mean, 200 players from the English leagues that's obviously Premier League and Championship, because there's a couple of Championship players going to the World Cup as well.
Yeah, it's drawing power and...
Right then. So, Ryan, how tall are you quickly?
6'7".
You're 6'7". Yeah, well done, Dean. So, Austria's goalkeeper, Florent Wiegel, is 6'7.2", and he's the tallest player to ever make a World Cup squad, apparently, which is surprising. I thought there'd been taller ones. Isn't Crouch 6'8"? Or is he 6'6"?
He's about the same height as me.
Was
Yeah,
He's 6'7.2", so maybe that 0.2 makes all the
an
difference.
extra inch on his hair or something.
Second tallest, Dan Burn, who, I mean, he's 6'6". So we've got second tallest player, decent. Although he doesn't have the best aerial wins percentage.
I don't think he'll play a lot either. But
No, he probably won't.
I did when I did a Newcastle tour the one year. I did actually. There was a cardboard cutout of Dan Burn to see how tall he was, and literally about exactly the same height.
Was he?
So probably about 6'6", 6'7".
I'd look like a
Big
midget
boy.
compared to him then.
But he was a bit more muscly than the big dog.
Was he? So on the contrary, we've said the tallest is 6'7". Who's the shortest? Well, that award goes to Cesar Yanis of Panama, who stands at 160 metres. What I forgot to do, if you can Google it quickly.
5'2".
Oh, is it? There you go. He's 5'2" then.
5'2". Which is smaller than Rey Mysterio for anyone that watches wrestling.
Oh, is he? I saw
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio.
Like 5'6".
Is he? I would love to see Dan Burn go up for a header against him.
He's quite small.
That'd be just funny, wouldn't it?
Rey Mysterio win every time, I reckon.
Just 6'1" him. In fact, I wonder if Rey Mysterio's going to any other games. He's Mexican, isn't he?
Yeah.
So, what's the guy from Ted Lasso? Cristo Fernandez. He's just joined the Mexican team as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, I've heard
The
about
one that plays
yeah.
Danny Rojas.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's.
Watched it.
You've never watched Ted?
No,
You?
no, I need to watch it.
Oh, well then, last thing then, before we wrap this episode up. All-time top scorers in World Cup history. Miroslav Klose has that record with 16, right?
Sure.
You got Brazilian Ronaldo at 15, Gerd Muller at third with 14, Messi's fourth on 13, and then Mbappe is sixth on 12. So 4 and 3 goals separating them. Do you think Messi and Mbappe have a chance of breaking that record at this World Cup? Messi only needing 3 to equal it, and Mbappe needing 4. Do you think it's doable?
Yes, 100%.
I think Mbappe will be the one to break it because he's no doubt got at least another World Cup or two in him after this as well. So, I
mean, Mbappe scored 12 World Cup goals in 14 appearances in the World Cup. That's it is the best record on there. I've never heard of him. Just Fontaine, who in 6 games for France scored 13 goals. I don't know. Was he just an unknown talent? I don't know. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it will be Mbappe that'll break it. Whether it'll be this World Cup or not will be difficult. But I think with France's squad and the fact he's probably going to start every match, I reckon he'll break it this tournament.
I want to say to score 4 goals. Like
4 to equal it.
4 to equal it. That France squad's ridiculous, and I think we'd all probably agree in saying that France have got a very good chance of getting to the final again this year. So yeah, Messi has definitely got a chance of getting equaling it and surpassing it for this World Cup, but I think long term is definitely Mbappe.
I mean, Gowlin, he only needs 6.
Yeah,
retirement
to come back. Yeah,
Filling off the Walkers.
Yeah, ease a bit of the pressure off Harry Kane.
Well, the last 2 episodes have been quite long, haven't they? So we've cut this one down a little bit to make it a bit of a shorter one. But next week, what the plan is we're going to do, I think they're called a vodcast. So it's the same as this, but we'll be filming it, so you'll be able to see us. So hopefully that will go quite successfully. We just need to figure that out on the day, don't we, Ryan, where we're going to put everything. But everything's sorted and ready for it. And by then, the World Cup will have started and we'll have some proper World Cup content to chat about.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Are you available next week?
Yeah, should be.
You are. You said that this week as well.
And I was.
You were, just. But you were. I'm guessing you're free, don't you?
Yeah, it'll be fine with me.
Indeed, don't do anything. Just sit
around.
Plan the podcast. That's our life, isn't it, unfortunately. But no, what we'll do then is we'll do this vodcast or whatever you want to call it for next week. And I'll edit that and get that up and running. And there's no England game, is there, between now and next episode?
Yeah.
Oh, there's the friendly on Wednesday. I forgot who we're playing though. Panama? Costa Rica? Somebody like that, isn't it? So we might be able to talk about that briefly. But at the end of the day, World Cup starts Thursday. That's the main bit, isn't it? So if you've made it to the end, our secret word for this week is trophy. Don't know why I picked trophy, but I mean last week it was pineapple, weren't it? So at least it's a bit more to do with football. So yeah, thanks everyone for listening anyway. And what we'll do is I'll put some stuff out on the socials regarding next week and the vodcast. And hopefully you can all have a watch next week rather than a listen. So thanks for listening, and until next week.
Scouting for goals, James Ryan D, let the whole town know. Scouting for goals.